The next speaker is a rising star in our field. Her name is Tiffany Kilby. Tiffany is the founder and director of a very unique behavioral organization called the Behavior Station. Tiffany's experiences, leadership skills, and dedication as a BCBA led her to create the Behavior Station. Everyone give it up for Tiffany Kilby. So in this unique presentation format, I'm going to be asking Tiffany some questions, and she's going to be talking about the Behavior Station based on those questions. So, you have to hold this at the top.
Hi, everybody.
The Behavior Station.
Okay, the Behavior Station is a platform for disseminating behavior analysis, and we achieve this goal mostly through the Behavior Station's website, thebehaviorstation.com, as well as social media. And basically, the purpose of this is to disseminate behavior analysis to the public, as that is one of our ethical obligations as behavior analysts. And just to clarify, because I often see there's some confusion sometimes in our field, dissemination means that we're spreading the word to people who do not know or have an understanding of what behavior analysis is. So if we're talking to each other about behavior analysis, that isn't really dissemination because we already have that. So dissemination basically defined simply is to spread as though sowing a seed. So planting a seed where it wasn't before. And the mission of the Behavior Station is to stay on track with ethical and professional standards of behavior analysis while transporting resources and mapping out science-based information.
So can you expand a little bit more on why you created the Behavior Station?
Yes. I created the Behavior Station because I found that there's a need for the dissemination, and I'm sure that these are things that you have all heard.
Okay, so
basically, I took all of these things that make up my learning history, and I decided to try to change what people say. So if they know what behavior analysis is, they'll have a more educated response. These are obviously supposed to be jokes, and jokes are funny, so it isn't a problem that they're saying it if it's a joke, but the reason that they're often saying it is because they don't know what to say instead. So it's our job as behavior analysts to teach them what appropriate responses are by disseminating the field.
Next question, does the Behavior Station provide ABA services?
No, the Behavior Station does not provide ABA services because the ultimate goal is to be a resource for dissemination, so an education tool. The reason that there are no ABA services, and as of right now there's no plan to provide ABA services, is because the Behavior Station, ultimately I would like to collaborate with other ABA providers or other fields to be a resource for all types of individuals. So if the Behavior Station were to provide ABA services, there would be a conflict of interest. So for that reason, I've kept it separate.
How can the Behavior Station help businesses in behavior analysis?
Well, like I said, I would like for it to be a resource for other companies to use. So that instead of being one-sided, just like a station, trains come and go, the information comes and goes from the Behavior Station. So it isn't just me sharing resources, but companies can also collaborate with me and we can share information that way as well. And we have a guest blog, which we can get a little bit more into. But the guest blog also allows that type of platform where it isn't just me sitting behind my computer saying things. I have other people guest authoring as well.
Okay, great. So that allows us to segue into the next question, which is the Behavior Station only a website?
No, it is not. We also participate in community events. This is a picture from an autism event earlier this year. And we also sponsor community events as well and participate in the behavior analysis community through conferences such as this. And this is a picture from ABAI.
why does the Behavior Station's website have a blog? So I know you talked about this a little bit earlier, so could you elaborate a little bit more about the blog?
Yes. So the purpose of the blog is to kind of create a community. So as behavior analysts, we're typically locked in our own little bubble, and a lot of times we only talk to each other about behavior analysis because more often than not, with our technical terms, the only people who understand us are other behavior analysts. So the goal with the blog, even though it's not science-based, was to create that type of community where we can be more relatable. People realize that behavior analysts are people too. We're not just scientists, you know, the cliche scientists in a lab coat. That's not who we are. So we need to reach other people, and the blog helps do that. So we've had a variety of professionals, parents, students contribute to the blog.
Okay, great. How is the Behavior Station different from other behavior analysis websites?
Well, just to note, as we talked about before, the Behavior Station is not only a website, but we also participate a lot in social media as well. So if anyone wants to take out their phone and follow, because it's important that we do have different ways. Sometimes behavior analysis websites are typically just companies. So if you're an ABA provider, you have a company so that you can find clients or find employees. And the organizations that exist for us as behavior analysts, such as you know, MIABA and the bigger associations as well, those are targeted mostly for us, for people who are in the field. So one of the reasons that the Behavior Station is different is not only because of the blog, but because the Behavior Station doesn't provide not only specific services, but doesn't provide general information on what do I do with this behavior, or if a behavior is attention maintained, what do I do with that behavior? Because that's kind of going away from the mission, which is just to educate what behavior analysis is in general, and so that way there are no blurred lines. So with that, the Behavior Station also adheres to the BACB ethical guidelines, and so in every decision we make sure that we aren't crossing any of those lines where we might accidentally give wrong information for a specific situation, because those cases can happen, especially since it's not a one-on-one conversation if you're just reading from the website. And also for that reason, with everything that is posted on the Behavior Station, if it's factual or related to science, there are always references so that people can cross-reference for themselves. So like I said, it's multi-directional. It's not just me saying, this is true, this is true, this is true, but I also provide references so that people can see for themselves or find out more information.
Great. After researching your website, I noticed a very interesting character on your website. So can you tell us a little bit about Train Master Barry?
Yes. Train Master Barry symbolizes the mission of disseminating behavior analysis. So basically what I've learned to use him for is wherever there's an opportunity to take a picture, Train Master Barry can be there. So that symbolizes that wherever we are, we have an opportunity to disseminate our field. It's not always easy, but we always can find something, you know, even in the small things. Sometimes just saying the word behavior starts a conversation. So when people are talking about something, about feelings or whatever it might be in an everyday conversation, you can mention the word behavior, and that may change the course of the conversation and allow an opportunity for dissemination. So this is Train Master Barry, and he's also at the booth in the back, so if anybody wants to take pictures with him, his hashtag is #TrainMasterBarry.
Okay, very cool. We've got a celebrity in the house, Train Master Barry. All right. Okay, so next question. Why is ethics important to behavioral businesses? So you talked a lot about ethics, and part of our ethical obligations is to disseminate behavior analysis. So why are ethics important to behavioral businesses?
That's a good question. I mean, I think that the answer should be simple, but it doesn't seem to be, especially in this area in our region. What I see a lot is a lot of concerned students, other behavior analysts, because there are not always effective quality services being provided. And ethics should always be at the foundation of what we do, especially knowing, you know, we always talk about learning histories and our learning histories shape who we are. Well, behavior analysis did not have the best starting point. So we should use that as our learning history to better our field. And while behavior analysis had a rocky start, we have the power now to change that and to disseminate that, no, we don't slap kids in the face if they answer a question wrong, or all the things that may have been true back in the day, or even with, you know, there's always one bad apple, I guess, but even in those situations, we now have the opportunity to change the future. And so we have to keep ethics at the heart of everything we do. And with that, we also need to stay up to date on what the board releases, such as the Professional and Ethical Compliance Code for Behavior Analysts that goes into effect on January 1st. A lot of times I've heard people say, oh, well, the behavior analysis, they just have guidelines for ethics. Well, soon they won't be just guidelines, so we need to make sure that we're upholding them, even though we should have been upholding them even when they were just guidelines.
And our last question is, how can people contribute to or learn more about the Behavior Station?
You can contact me. I basically single-handedly run it, so I'm the only person that you would contact. So this is the information. And I also just wanted to make a note, since we talked about how we should disseminate everywhere and find opportunities in the little things. And Corey, behavior guy, came up with a phrase this morning while we were talking about Trainmaster Barry. And that phrase is, be the bear, be everywhere. So that's how we should really conduct ourselves. So thanks, Corey. I told you I would quote you. And again, here's my contact information.
All right, everybody give it up for Tiffany Kilby.
Thank you.